First off, I guess we'll get into the simplest question that I have. Do you
Sure.
remember the first time that you saw the original Toxic Avenger?
I totally do. I absolutely remember. I was at my friend Jamie's house. Other friend Andy's older brother Mike had given us the VHS tape and was like, "Y'all got to watch this." This was the '80s, so that's how you found cool stuff. Was somebody's older brother would pass it off to you, and we were just like, "What the fuck is this?" Um, it just the whole tone of it was so sort of sleazy and trashy in a very hilarious way, and we were exactly the right age. And so the sense of humor was influential, but also I may have seen other movies that I'm not remembering, but that was the one that I remember feeling like it took me a while to understand what I was feeling, but I was like, oh wait, these are just regular dudes that just had a camera and they made their own movie. And it's not Star Wars and it's not, Raiders. It's like they did it in their hometown. Um, and it felt very accessible and it was in that way even more so than the sense of humor. It was very inspirational. Like, oh fuck it, we can do this. And so we kind of carried that forward. I thought, never had the plan or the idea to like one day I'll do a Toxic Avenger. That never occurred to me, but the inspiration of it did carry forward as far as like you can get your friends together and grab a camera and figure out how to make something that's funny and entertaining.
Was that your main inspiration for wanting to update the film for modern times, like just getting to work with your friends and make it yourself?
Yeah, yeah. It kind of like it was like, I mean, the first thing that happened was an invitation to pitch to write the script. And my honest, if I'm being truly honest, my first reaction was like, why are we doing this? Um, the first one was so singular, like what could be gained from it? And also I was kind of worried that like I bet they're probably talking about like a PG-13 version. I bet they're talking about like a more family friendly version or something. And I had no reason to expect that. That was just like what I was like, eh. So but I ended up pitching for it, and I was like, look, it should be rated R. That's what the fans are gonna want. It should be a person in a suit. And it should be very silly. It shouldn't like he shouldn't be in body armor. We shouldn't like have to explain that like nanobots are what's giving him his powers, or like explain it
Yeah.
somehow that make it seem credible. And the guy I was pitching to, who I didn't know at the time, was a Trauma fan from way back. He was the executive that had chased these rights, and he heard that and he was like, "Exactly, let's do it." And so then it kind of got the ball rolling from there, and it did feel like this would be an opportunity to with high quality cameras and a cast of actual movie actors make the type of movie that we were making in our backyard in sixth grade. That's absolutely what it was.
Well, and there was initial screenings in 2023. Can you explain a little about why it took so long for it to finally receive a wide release?
I can give you what my speculation is, but I was not in the mix on that. But we had good screenings we had really good screenings at Fantastic Fest and Beyond Fest. At that time, the way I understand it is that like the streamers were kind of condensing what they were buying. Uh, Things were not getting greenlit. Things were not getting purchased for distribution in the same way as they had been. And I think if something was not deemed to be, oh, this is a home run, crowd pleasing, middle of the road movie, then it was just not attractive to people. And you know, somewhere along the way, there was this like idea that like this movie is unreleasable, and either like I'd heard versions that it was like it's so gory that it's unreleasable. It's like it's not fucking gory at all. It's like the Red Wedding episode of Game of Thrones is way fucking more gory than this movie.
No.
Um, or that it's like it's so niche and weird that it's unreleasable. And again, I guess it's a little niche, but it's pretty wholesome. It's pretty, I think most people would dig it. Anyways,
No.
um, so it had a hard time finding a home, and that was kind of nerve-wracking, but Legendary kept at it, and they eventually landed with Cineverse, who reacted exactly the way that I was hoping they would, which is like, yeah, dude, this is a crowd pleaser. This is a fun summertime, get everybody in the theater, everybody laughs. It's like a good rock and roll. fun time. And that was the spirit with which we made it. And so that's how they've been marketing it. And that's how I hope audiences receive it is just kind of like it's like a rock and roll party movie.
Yeah,
So
and it definitely is. And you have this cast is absolutely insane from like Peter Dinklage to Kevin Bacon. What was the process like getting all these amazing actors involved?
I mean, there was a few people that like I wrote Elijah's part for him. I wrote David Yao's part for him, but we needed a central character to anchor it to get the financing and that was kind of tricky. And we had tried a couple of different people and nobody was really up for it. And I knew Peter a little bit. If I had met him at a film festival. And so I figured like I think he would read this. I don't know if he's gonna say yes, but I could at least send him the script and we could see. And honestly, I had been thinking about him for the villain, but we needed to cast Winston first. And we were having a hard time. And at a certain point, I was like, let's just offer the Winston part to Peter and just at worst that could happen is he says no. Um, and what I didn't know was that he was a Toxic Avenger fan from his childhood as well. He was from New Jersey. So he got the script and wrote me back the next day and was like, let's do it. And as soon as you have him on board, it kind of it legitimizes an otherwise very silly script that like I think people could be forgiven for reading it and be like, is this Tom and Jerry? Like, what are we doing here? But when you've got him, it's kind of like everyone's like, oh, okay, it's like a real movie. And then you can talk to people like Kevin Bacon with that in your back pocket, and it's sort of like it attracts talented people like that. So yeah, the cast is insane. Julia Davis, Taylour Paige, just we got Jacob Tremblay, of course. We got a lot of really cool folks in this one. I'm delighted with the ensemble.
One, was there any point during the creative process where Dinklage was going to go under the makeup, or was it always intended to use a stunt performer for that?
It was always intended to do that was sort of part of it, and I think there was sort of like a scheduling component to that. Like we don't need you for 4 months. We can get you in and out in like
Yeah.
3 weeks, something like that. So that was always part of it, but it was very cool because he came early and performed the whole movie over about a week in a rehearsal studio on videotape. And so he did all of Toxie's, all the lines, all the motions and everything. And our physical performer, whose name was Luisa Guerrero, took those videotapes that Peter did and studied them. And she came, I mean, she really studied them. And she came to set and performed Toxie with the pauses and the hand gestures and the mannerisms and all the shit that Peter had done to the extent that like some people that were visiting set assumed that it was Peter. And then she started talking and suddenly she's got this high-pitched British accent voice and they're like, "What?" And they're like, "No, it's not Peter." And also the makeup designers had incorporated his facial features into the design of Toxie. So the hope, of course, and I love telling that story and I love talking about Louisa, but the hope as you watch the movie is that you don't know and you think it's Peter.
Yeah, I think that's why there's been some confusion about that because she does such a good job in embodying him.
Yeah. Yeah, that was our goal. So
Yeah,
I think that's the best shout out to her is that people don't know.
yeah. Well, and do you think there's any chance we'll get to see that footage of Peter performing that stuff in the warehouse?
I don't honestly I don't know where it is. I guess there's that I guess maybe it might end up on it's not going to be on the initial Blu-ray that's coming out because I saw the special features for that, but maybe there'll be like a specialty version down the road if somebody can locate that footage. I honestly have no idea where it is.
Well, since you know the special features, have did you record a commentary track for it? Because I'm a big commentary guy.
I am too, and I did, and that was my favorite
Awesome.
thing. I've never I got to do one commentary that we did ourselves for a movie with that Jeremy directed a couple of years ago, but this is my first big featured commentary. And what I loved about it, it's like an opportunity because obviously there's the credits at the end of the movie, but it's an opportunity to go through and be like, the production designer's name was Alex and he did this, and the
Yeah.
DP's name was Dana and he did this, and it's just it's such a fucking team sport, and everybody breaks their backs for it. And a lot of the attention and everything is sort of directed on me, and I love the opportunity to be like, no, there was dozens upon dozens of people that did such great work, and if you like the movie, it's likely because of something they did.
Yeah.
And so it's a really cool opportunity to just sort of like give shout outs to the people that deserve.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.